Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
"48 hours later, the conclave is done and Catholics have a new pope. Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost is the first ever North American-born pope, a Chicago native. He will now lead the world's 1.4 billion Catholics as Pope Leo XIV. Thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. Pope Leo won a 2/3 majority around noon our time on the second day of the conclave. It took about an hour from the time he was elected to the time he was introduced as Pope. Amidst all this celebration here, the big question tonight is, who is he? Like, what's his background? And more importantly, in what direction will he lead the church? Rebecca Castor reports from Rome.
Habemus Papam.
To a crowd of thousands cheering in St. Peter's Square, American-born Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost was declared Pope Leo XIV, the new leader of the Catholic Church.
La pace sia con...
Peace be with you all.
Cardinal Prevost was elected on the 4th ballot after 2 days of voting. Despite keeping a low public profile, he's well known within the church, previously leading the Vatican's powerful Office of Bishops. The 69-year-old is a Chicago native and graduate of Villanova University. But like Pope Francis, he has a background in South America, spending much of his career as a missionary and minister in Peru, later becoming Archbishop. Pope Leo XIV is expected to lead in a similar manner to Pope Francis, continuing to move the church in a more progressive direction. He presided over a historic reform from Francis, adding 3 women to the voting bloc that selects which bishop nominations move forward to the Pope.
You have to have backbone. You have to be able to say, I am the leader now. And he has done that as a missionary bishop, as a missionary priest, and he's done that leading a very important congregation.
And coming up in the next 30 minutes, Fox 61's Angelo Bavaro will bring us local reaction to the news and more information about Pope Leo XIV.
And we have a weather impact alert in place for heavy rain tomorrow. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank is here to tell us more. So, Rachel, what can people do to prepare?
Yeah, this is just kind of the appetizer, and then we'll see the main round pass through tomorrow. But what you can do to prepare is make sure the sump pump is plugged in, make sure the storm drains around your home are free and clear of any leaks, so any water that falls has somewhere to go. We'll see some showers and storms come through tonight, at least in some towns. They'll get a break in the action as we head through the overnight hours, and then more rain will fill back in again for Friday. But we've got this line of thunderstorms right now stretching from Heartland and Granby all the way down through Plymouth. The strongest thunderstorm right now is probably right around Barkhamsted, and you can see passing through parts of Heartland as well. Very heavy rain over a short period of time, so likely going to see some street flooding with that. Harwinton also seeing some heavy rain, and this is all moving to the northeast at about 25 miles an hour, putting it into Hartford at around 6:30. We also have some showers and rumbles of thunder here in southern Connecticut as well through Oxford and Southbury. That'll eventually be making its way towards Wallingford. So again, this is the first push, a break in the action, and then heavy rain tomorrow. We'll talk more about that weather impact alert, what it means, and the improvement for this weekend coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Well, community leaders in Hartford are calling for action after a pair of shootings yesterday. One of those was deadly. The other was an ambush attack. According to police, 4 people were shot there. Fox 61's Alicia Hercules spoke with police about the investigations. She also talked to community leaders about what can be done to stop the violence.
With both those shootings happening just hours apart, Hartford police say Wednesday was just a violent day. However, community members say this happens all too often. 2 shootings in a matter of hours in Hartford. Police say 4 men were shot on Nelson Street late Wednesday evening. Earlier that day, another shooting, this one resulting in the death of 25-year-old Jared Floyd. Lieutenant Aaron Boisvert says investigators don't believe the shootings are related.
We also believe that both of these victims, the victims in both situations were targeted, especially at Nelson Street. That was an ambush style attack.
Lieutenant Boisvert says the victims of the Nelson Street shooting are all in stable condition. But after all this gun violence, many are left surprised and disappointed at what's happening in their city, including Brother Kelvin Lovejoy.
I think, again, just shocked to see once again, here we are, right, in the north end of Hartford, yellow tape everywhere, police everywhere.
Lieutenant Boisvert says Hartford Police has noticed an increase in violence when the weather gets warmer.
I think when people have been cooped up inside, and I think when, especially in the springtime when the sun finally comes out and warmer temperatures start rising, violence tends to rise as well.
Brother Lovejoy fears that the lack of funding for youth groups and organizations in the city will lead to even more violence among young people.
And if they're not doing summer employment, if they're not in summer programming, then unfortunately they're in an environment, right, that is ripe with trauma, drama, and that becomes violence.
He also hopes to see more resources provided to organizations and individuals to help mitigate the violence.
We need dollars on these streets to make sure that folks who are qualified to go into those neighborhoods can reach our young people. And I think that if we do that, we'll have a chance.
If you have any information on either shooting, you're encouraged to contact the Hartford Police Department. In Hartford, Alicia Hercules, Fox 61.
Well, tonight, 25 cyclists are on the road making their way from Connecticut down to Washington, D.C. They're paying tribute to officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty. Fox 61's Jamel Johnson shows us how they got a special send-off.
First responders and their families gathered at the Hartford Police Department to send bicycle riders off on this year's Unity Tour. A 300-mile ride from Hartford all the way to the nation's capital to honor those fallen in the line of duty. It was a loud send-off as 25 bicycle riders from New England set off on their bikes. 6 riders are police officers from Hartford. They are riding to Washington to honor fallen officers. Among those riders was Dominique Pelletier, the widow of State Trooper First Class Aaron Pelletier, who was tragically killed last year while conducting a traffic stop.
Thank you, everybody, for all the support that you've given our team throughout the last almost year. We've been through a lot. This is just such a special event to all of us. I hope we stay safe and dry and we have a good time on the way, and let's do this.
Pelletier was the 26th Connecticut State Trooper to be killed since 1903. Dominique will not only honor her husband, but countless other officers such as Hartford Police Detective Bobby Garton. His brother Will rides in his honor.
I never imagined honoring him like this. I imagined growing old with him, beating him to gray hair, arguing over who Mom actually liked more, talking trash at dinner, and never letting each other get the last word. I'd trade every mile of this ride just to have him back.
Before the ride started, Will and his family were presented with a framed letter along with a photo of Detective Garton.
He would say, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this?" Yeah, we weren't totally like fitness nuts, but we totally, but it's the right thing to do to make people say his name. Anytime I get to say his name and talk about Bobby it's a bonus for me.
Garton says this is the hardest he's ever had to train for anything.
I really was just on the Peloton all winter, and then we didn't have many sunny days, but I was out there riding up and down hills and just trying to keep going, keep the legs moving. Most I've ever trained, I lost 60 pounds, so yeah, I totally, this is the first time for everything.
Will and his fellow riders are preparing for a heavy journey.
I'm expecting a lot of different emotions, but I'm just going to let everything come to me as it comes.
Paying the ultimate tribute for those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. The bicycle ride will take 4 days and end in Washington, D.C. on Monday, right when Police Week kicks off. In Hartford, Jamel Johnson, Fox 61.
All right, Jamel, thank you. Well, 2 people who were trapped inside their home when it went up in flames this morning. New Haven firefighters say those people are okay, but unfortunately, their pets died. Crews were called to Salem Street just before 10 a.m. There was heavy smoke coming from the house. After firefighters got those trapped people out, we're told they worked on the fire for more than an hour. Officials say they had trouble getting to the home, and 3 firefighters got hurt in the process.
We did have a little bit of trouble with access, as I said, because of fences, but we also had severe hoarding conditions in the building, and we always proceed cautiously with that. That's an extreme danger to firefighters.
The firefighters are also expected to be fined. The fire marshal's office is investigating the fire. It's unclear what caused it.
Well, we have calls out to police tonight to find out more about an armed robbery at a Citgo in Hartford. We know a clerk was hurt this morning at the gas station on New Britain Avenue. Police say the thief had a gun. They called the clerk's injury minor, though. No word yet on how much the thief made off with or if they've been arrested. We'll update you as soon as we learn more.
A Brantford man faces charges in a deadly crash that happened 2 months ago in North Brantford. Police now believe 54-year-old Dylan Ward was under the influence at the time of that crash. It happened March 5th on Foxon Road near Doral Farms Road. 3 people were taken to the hospital. One of those people, 82-year-old Diana Golia, died. Ward is charged with manslaughter, DUI, and driving on a suspended license. He was arrested Monday. He's being held on $250,000 bond. And Groton police identified the driver who died after she crashed into a utility pole yesterday afternoon. Police say 45-year-old Vanessa Pettengill of Norwich was driving on Fort Hill Road when she crashed. Police are still investigating this, so if you saw this, you are asked to give them a call.
And people who drove on I-91 North in Enfield faced quite a bit of traffic this morning because of a double rollover crash. This crash happened just before 7 this morning near exit 47E. Police say there were minor injuries. It's unclear how many people were involved. The highway was closed for more than 2 hours.